In today's video, we're going to look at how to add markings, powder lines, and signatures to your parts, so that all of this information is properly included when you export your DSTV NC data. First, one important thing to know: every type of marking or signature always must be created at part level. That means we need to open the individual part first, and then we can start setting things up. Let's start with a marking. The process is actually quite straightforward. All we do is create a sketch. As an example, I'll add a marking here on this face to indicate the position of a rib. And that's really all there is to it. One important rule to keep in mind: the sketch always needs to be a closed contour. After that, the only thing left to do is rename the sketch. For markings, we rename the sketch to mark, and if we want to create multiple markings, we can simply add a number suffix, like 001, to keep things organized. It's also perfectly fine to include multiple marking contours within a single sketch. Let's confirm that and move on. Now, as an example for a powder line, I'll go ahead and sketch a triangle. So what's the difference between the two? In the exported NC file, a marking will appear as a block with the abbreviation KO, short for Kornern, the German term for center punching. A powder line, on the other hand, will appear as a PU block. We'll rename this sketch accordingly to powder. And again, the same logic applies here. You can either combine multiple powder lines in one sketch or create separate sketches for each one. To add a signature, we first draw a line to define its position, and we set that line as a construction line. We then use the standard SOLIDWORKS text feature to insert the signature text. This can be a manually typed value, but it can also be linked to a custom property, for example, the part's position number. That makes it very flexible for automated workflows. For this demo, I'll simply type in an order number manually. We can also style the text using the standard SOLIDWORKS text options. Once we're happy with the signature, we rename the sketch to signature, and again, adding a number like 001 is good practice if you plan to have more than one. We then save and close the part. Back in our assembly, we can now see all the settings applied to the part, and we're ready to export it using Start DSTV Assistant. We assign an order number, select our export settings, and hit OK. Now let's take a look at the output file. It's been saved in a folder named with the current date and time. Opening the file in a text editor, we can clearly see the different blocks. SI stands for signature, KO for the center punch marking, in this case the marking for the rib, and PU for the powder line. And here's how it all looks in the 3D model. In this NC viewer, both the marking and the powder line are displayed as punch marks. Let me rotate the model so we can also see the signature. And there it is, exactly as we defined it in SOLIDWORKS. That's all for this video. If you'd like to see more about working with DSTV NC data directly from SOLIDWORKS, go ahead and click on the suggested video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.